An update into last week's fatal bear attack in North Arkansas, what game wardens have learned and what's still to come in their investigation.
And state leaders are kicking off initiatives all across Arkansas. The details from the Attorney General and Governor Sanders.
Plus, we're also hearing from the new head hog as the team prepares for their first game since shoving Sam Pittman aside.
How they're moving forward ahead of this weekend's game versus Tennessee.
Good evening, everybody. Rolly Hoyt here with Faith Woodard. We want to start with the weather, though. It's been a rainy day across central Arkansas.
The clouds are out, but the sun is not going away. For an answer on what's to come the rest of the evening, we bring in Chief Meteorologist Tom Brandon.
And Tom, we're not going to get anything more than a few raindrops around here?
Just a few raindrops for central and western Arkansas. Most of this is going to be over the eastern part of the state. There is a disturbance here. This developed over the Gulf and moved onshore through Louisiana, Mississippi, and now in Arkansas, lifting to the north. And these counties are parched. Drought conditions are far worse in eastern and northeastern Arkansas than the rest of us. So they're getting some beneficial rain here as the system slowly crawls to the north with a bit of a northeast jog. Now, there is a frontal boundary that will begin entering the picture late Tuesday, early Wednesday. That will help to push that along and dry us out. It's awfully humid outside, although the temperatures are in the 70s with a few 80s. The dew points are back in the upper 60s to low 70s, an indication that this is a little tropical system moving in and providing us with higher dew points and relative humidity values as well as some rain chances. It's a little drier in the northwest, but it does feel very sticky out there. Hour by hour tonight, we'll see our numbers drop off into the lower 70s, and there will be an opportunity for a few light raindrops. Coming up in just a few minutes, I'll have the timing of the front and what you can expect on the backside of that boundary heading through the rest of the week.
All right, Tom, thanks. Tonight we are getting an update on last week's deadly bear attack near Sam's Throne Campground in Newton County. Authorities identified the man killed and then tracked down the bear they believe is responsible. 60-year-old
Max Thomas was found dead near the campground last week after family members reported him missing for several days.
And that's where investigators say they found signs of a struggle and drag marks leading into the woods. Evidence they say is consistent with a mauling.
According to investigators, Thomas had sent family photos of a young bear near his campsite just 2 days before he was found dead. And yesterday, cameras captured a bear near the same campground. That bear was eventually killed and has been brought back to central Arkansas for testing.
We're doing DNA testing on the bear, and we did pull some DNA from the victim, and we'll find out. But we're pretty certain that it is the bear. It did come back into the campground, which we thought that it probably would if it was the same bear.
And this is believed to be the second fatal attack and bear encounter in Arkansas in just over a month. Tonight, Sam's Throne Campground is still closed as traps remain in place. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders also announced a new initiative this morning here in Little Rock. The 1033 program, named after the Good Samaritan story in the Bible, aims to connect people to housing, health care, and employment assistance. A trio of faith-based nonprofits will work together, Restore Hope, the Contingent Care Portal. The Restore Hope's director says a platform that organization started, the Hope Hub case management system, is going to help make it all work.
We will integrate Hope Hub and Care Portal so that a person in need could be surrounded by every level of support. Government agencies, professional services, and caring neighbors, all working together. This means that when someone reaches out for help, they're not entering a maze, they're entering their community.
The pilot program will take place in Pulaski, Union, and Pope counties and serve about 300 to 500 people.
Meanwhile, the governor also finds herself in the middle of a lawsuit alongside the Secretary of State over the timeline of the special election to fill the vacant seat in Franklin County. Colt Shelby filed the lawsuit today through his attorney, saying he's challenging the timeline for the election. As of right now, the primary is scheduled for March 3rd, the same day as Arkansas's general primary. The special election itself will be June 9th. The timeline has faced backlash from people who believe it will leave the district without representation.
Former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson weighing in on some of those the biggest issues affecting the state and the nation right now.
From the government shutdown to a proposed state prison and even the state of political division, he's sharing his take on where things stand. THV 11's Journey Taylor has more from the former leader of the state.
Listen, I'm right here in Arkansas. This is my home, and I continue to be engaged as I can.
Even after his run for president, 46th governor of Arkansas, Asa Hutchinson says he's still busy and still rooted in Arkansas.
I'm working. I'm having a great time. My wife Susan and I, we're having some fun. We're living up in Rogers, but we're also very engaged.
Engaged with the right now, and he says what he's seeing across the nation isn't new, and in fact, he knows firsthand what a shutdown can do.
I was governor during the longest government shutdown in history. It was, I believe, 35 days. It started 3 days before Christmas, and that was not good for federal workers, but it's not good for the economy. And the Republicans have an extension there. I hope that it can be passed, and the federal workers can go back and get paid.
And while that is a newly contentious battle across the nation, here back home in the state, the battle over prison expansion still looms.
But the longer it's delayed, then it's really, the inclination is to say, are there any other solutions? And so there is some urgency in it, and I hope that they can not only provide the space, but also provide the assistance that's needed for those in prison wanting to be trained as they come out to regain employment, to reduce recidivism. I know that's the goal that many of us have, including the governor.
With many of these topics causing much division, he advocates for healing, forgiveness, and leaning in on our sense of community.
Well, it's important to remember that we've had times of division in our country before. And so we have a very resilient democracy. We have people who care about our democracy and want it to succeed. One thing I learned in traveling around the country running for President of the United States is people do care and they want success even though we might have disagreements.
I'm Journey Taylor for THV 11 News.
Now, we also asked Hutchinson if there was a chance he returned to politics. He said, quote, "We'll see what life holds." Well, more than 120 Arkansas National Guardsmen made their way to the southern border yesterday for a year-long mission. The deployment includes 4 helicopters and support crews, part of a routine rotation to assist Customs and Border Protection. And ahead of the mission, we caught up with some of them to see how they're feeling.
I chose to serve the nation, and I've learned that we got to do what we got to do. It's just it's part of the job.
I'm excited, but I'm also nervous for the simple fact that I am the S1 officer, so I will be leading soldiers. But at the same time, I'm excited and I'm ready to lead.
The Guardsmen are expected to return from their deployment in November of next year.
New tonight at 6. The CDC says Arkansas is the only state that saw a significant rise in suicide rates nationwide from 22 to 23.
Health Department data shows from 2023, 626 lives lost to suicide, up by about 80 from the previous year. And the new CDC findings say that's a more than 12% increase in 1 year.
Deputy Chief Medical Officer Dr. Bala Simon with ADH says the rise is tied to several factors, including limited access to mental health care, high rates of substance use, and the lingering effects of the COVID-19 pandemic.
He also says 1 in 5 adults in Arkansas live with a mental illness, but nearly half don't receive treatment, and the crisis has been building for years.
It's been a product of increasing mental health crises in the state and across the nation, and also lack of access to mental health services and the providers.
The health department is also working to destigmatize mental health care while working with those area providers like the Arkansas Crisis Center. We're going to hear from them coming up tonight at 10.
But still to come here at 6, a big donation brings upgrades to fire stations across Little Rock. How they hope it shows their appreciation for first responders.
You know, it's quite muggy now, but heading down the road, a frontal boundary is going to bring some cooler and drier conditions to the state. Look at those numbers by early Friday morning. That's the start of the Arkansas State Fair. A cool front just in time for the fair. Who'd have thought, right? Got your forecast after the break.